Come on, Nick. What do you got for me?
Don't know if I've got one today. I was waiting to see who was going to start and see whether you hit me up with one or not. But come on. All right. Let me just...
You got to go to the internet for your material. So I make my material up, listeners, which is probably why it's so bad.
No, mine's...
But at least it's authentically me, Nick.
Okay. What do you call a pile of cats?
No idea.
A meowton.
Oh, my goodness. All right, well...
Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nick unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
So, listeners, we actually have a guest for you today, and I'm hoping he's at least as funny, if not a lot funnier than Nick.
Gosh, I hope he's much funnier.
I don't think it'd be hard. We've set the bar pretty low. Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast, Julian Mather.
Hey, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Waz. I'm shaking in my boots now with that. I do bad dad jokes, but you have really raised the bar on that one, Nick.
Nick takes it to a whole nother level.
I do have some of my material donated for me.
Yeah.
Send it back.
That's a good way to start as a guest on our show, Julian, is get straight into us.
Love it.
So, mates, we have a tradition here at Tradies in Business. We don't do bio reads. We find them to be incredibly boring and scripted. So we much prefer for our guests to give our listeners a bit of an insight into who they are. Obviously, people are listening to this going, no idea who this guy is. He's going to talk about some stuff that was in the description. Maybe they didn't even read the description. They're just listening to the next episode that popped up. So I guess, who are you on the couch, in public? Maybe don't tell us the in private part, but give our listeners some insight, Julian.
Look, I'll give you the plotted thumbnail version, and I'll go back and I'll start at school because I did really well in school if you don't count learning. Right? And so, look, it was not great, and I became a chronic truant. I wagged so much of school, and I took myself to the State Library because I knew what I wanted to be in life. I wanted to be a photojournalist. So I went to the State Library in William Street in Brisbane, and I read every book on photography, every book on photojournalism. And, you know, sometimes the messages are written between the lines, and you got to decipher that. What I learned was that if I wanted to be a photojournalist, it was not going to happen in Brisbane. And so I started a process of getting out of Brisbane, and I saw an army recruiting poster on the side of a bus shelter, and it had these soldiers walking down through a pine forest, and that's all I needed was the pine forest because they weren't eucalypt trees. That meant it wasn't Australia. So that was my plan. I joined the army, and that's when the yelling started, and it didn't stop for quite a while, and they ended up putting me in the infantry. I said I wanted to be a photojournalist, and they said, they didn't tell you that, did they? And so I wasn't really happy in there. I ended up being an army sniper. The reason for that was I got autonomy and I could go out and be by myself. But I decided, like, looking through that narrow view of life, through that narrow scope, wasn't what I wanted. I wanted a wider view. I wanted to get back to being a photojournalist. I ended up working for ABC TV and became a documentary cameraman. Was there for 2.5 decades and went to some amazing places, but it was the people in front of the lens who really influenced my thinking. And I started to get these ideas. And so at the top of my game as a cameraman, I walked away from television and I took a program into schools to help school kids. It was a commercial failure because I knew nothing about business. And after 18 months of pushing this, my TV career had sailed off into the distance and I was left basically with no money and I had to reinvent myself. So the hook that I used to get the kids' attention in the school program was magic, because as a cameraman, I always carried a bit of magic in my camera vest because, get this, apparently people don't trust the media. I know. So I found magic was a good way to build rapport with people, to get people laughing. So I used that basis and rebuilt myself and became a professional magician. And I did that for 5 years. And that's where I learned about small business. When I was doing that, I still wanted to get into schools. I did a small program in schools. It was too much for the kids to learn and remember. So I started to put the videos online on YouTube and didn't think much about it. I went back about 6 months later and I got a big shock. There were all these people watching. And I ended up with a successful YouTube channel. It's still there. It's got 30 million views and 140,000 subscribers. And I went into the metrics because you can find out who's watching and who's listening and countries they come from. And I got a big surprise because I was mainly doing this for kids and there was a spike of males 35 to 55 years old. And so I reached out to them. I said, who are you? What are you looking at this stuff for? And I said, all our lives we've had this passion to want to do magic. We know how to do the tricks, but we don't know how to put a show together. And what you show is like the glue between all the tricks. So I said, look, if I built an online course that was called Build Your Magic Show, would you buy it? And they said, yes. So I did. And that was my start of building up the world's first online training academy for professional children's entertainers. Wow. And I built this up as a business. I sold it about 3 or 4 years ago, and that still runs out there. But that was, so we taught people magic and juggling and balloons. But what we really taught them was transformation. We taught them to go from being stuck, I want to do something, to being unstuck over here. So that was the psychology and the mindset. And that's what I really liked and got involved in. So what I do now is that same psychology and mindset shift. I've stuck video on top of it because there's two things I know, and that's video and transformation. And that's what I do. I work with people, whether you're a small business person, whether you're a tradie, whether you're a speaker, whether you're an author, whether you're a leader, people who know it's time to start showing up on video to improve your business. But the last thing in the world you want to do is actually get in front of the camera. What I do is help people do that. So it's a rather long-winded explanation, but that's it.
It's an incredible life that you've had so far.
I think I need a coffee after that, or a whiskey, or both. But I guess it's one of those weird human fears, it seems to be. As a coach for nearly 15 years myself, trying to get small business people to get out and do networking and, present their business better and speak to customers better. It's akin to being on stage, and it's one of those fears that we're apparently born with of being on stage. And, people literally have physiological effects from just the thought of it. And I know I used to be very afraid of being on stage, and now the drugs really help with that. So I guess with video, it's a little bit like the idea of who's watching this, I think, is almost worse than getting up in front of 30 people or 50 people on a stage, because at least we can see them. But when I hold up my camera or my smartphone, I don't know who's watching, and it could be thousands, or worse still, it could be just one person, and they're going to say something nasty about me. How do people sort of move from being addicted to watching other people's videos to having I don't know, is it courage? Like, what do they need to be able to start to make that shift, Julian?
Yeah, and that's you've framed that beautifully. You've hit so many points in there. So you're right. Video is worse than public speaking, because public speaking, you got to get up there and, you might fail, you might fluff, you might say the wrong thing, people might laugh. Everything about that, and video is true. Plus, you have to watch yourself back again. And that is the most painful thing. I mean, if we could see everyone out, who likes looking at themselves on video? Nobody puts their hand up. I'm the same. So yes, there are these physiological experiences that we go through, whether you're public speaking or whether you're doing video. But number one, you've got to understand that they are there for a reason, and everybody experiences these same things. These are the things that saved us when we were cavemen back on the savannah roaming the plains and something was going to attack us, that we went into fight or flight. And so those same things that you experience when you get the sweaty palms, so that's your body starting to overheat and, you know, your palms start to cool down. When you get the shaking legs, that's your muscles tightening up. Are you going to run or are you going to fight? You get elevated heartbeat, and then you have to start sucking more oxygen in to oxygenate your blood, and therefore, and then your pupils dilate, which means you can't read your script, you know, because everything goes out of focus. You get acute hearing because you want to hear any rustling, you know, through the long grass over there, and everything sounds louder and you hear your voice back. These are normal things that you have evolved with to save you. But we don't have saber-toothed tigers going to attack us anymore. But you know, our bodies are so dumb in one sense. They go, well, what else is going to threaten us? Oh, people might laugh at us. And that triggers these experiences. So yes, if you get those, there's nothing wrong with you. All we have to do is give you a bit of exposure therapy, little bit by little bit, and you find that people don't laugh at you, people don't criticize you, people don't talk about the way you look or you sound, and you get over that. But what it really comes down to is you've got to have a belief that you've got something to say. And when it comes to being a small business person these days, there is no one better. There is no one more qualified than you to start helping your customers solve a problem. You know your customers, you know your area, you know the sort of people you work with. All they want when they wake up at 2 a.m. and they can't sleep and go, oh, I've got to get this path concreted, and they start searching. They want answers at 2 a.m. in the morning. Who better than you in with your pair of concreted boots there and your sweaty brow, getting up there and just going, yeah, okay, so this is what happens. You know, we come, we do the concreting, this is how we clean up. Simple videos like this where you're just being you work absolutely brilliantly. So what you've got to understand is there's the physical sensations you're going to get, but there's this belief that you do not have to apologize for wanting to help your customers. And if you can agree with that statement, you are just going to, you are going to get on video and you are going to rock it. Because here's the thing. No one's doing this now. There's such a huge opportunity because everyone's thinking what you're thinking. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't look good enough. I haven't had the experience. And everyone's not doing it. And if you are one of the early adopters with this, and it's crazy. I mean, this is like, you know, we all use Zoom, but believe me, this is still very, very early stages of using video in business. There's such an opportunity for you out there now.
I think you've highlighted it really well. It's the fear of, there's a bunch of fears, right? I can stand in front of hundreds of people and talk. I have no problems. The scariest thing I've ever done, hands down in my life, was appear on live television. It was freaking terrifying. You don't know what questions are coming. It's really full on. And 5 minutes into the interview, you're quite relaxed and you can move through it. It's not as terrifying as you think it's going to be. But I think the biggest fear is around what we are saying and what we're talking about and not knowing if that's going to be of interest. And I think I know we hear time and time again from our tradies in business. They talk a lot about how, well, a client doesn't want to know what the wall looks like without the plasterboard on, or a client doesn't want to know what I do all day. They can't actually understand there's a great deal of value in, first and foremost, seeing that transparency, which for me as a consumer, it's a big tick. I want to know that you're just as tidy behind the wall as you are on the outside of the wall, or the trust and the likability of the people that I then get to know through video, because there's no better way to get to know someone, obviously, other than in the flesh. Having that opportunity to learn their personality through video is fantastic. But I guess moving them to that point of believing in themselves and what they have to share can be super challenging. Are there some simple things you think that all business owners can start with sharing so they can start to move into that space of being on video?
Yeah, and it's really straightforward. And you all know this. Everyone listening to this podcast knows this. You just haven't realized it. What are those 5, 7, 10 things that when a customer, a client rings you up and makes an inquiry, what are those 5, 7 or 10 questions that you have to answer over and over and over, and you go, oh, not this question again. Those questions, right, are the ones you start making videos about. And you make simple videos with just how you would answer, and keep them a little bit tighter, but don't change who you are. Put these up on your website as a little learning center, like FAQ section. Here's 5 videos. So when someone rings you and they go, oh, I'm not sure, you go, hey, go to my website here, have a look at these 5 videos. They are going to show you. They're not just going to answer the questions. They're going to show you exactly what your concerns are and how I overcome them. And then, so come back to me. Look, I'll book a call in with you tomorrow. So can you have a look at those tonight? Because I'd love to talk to you about this tomorrow once you've seen that. And the benefit for you is that now those people can go and educate themselves in their own time that's convenient to them. And then when you have the next conversation with them, they are pre-educated. And Nick, just what you said before, it's about they now know you. And we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And this is one of the great powers of video in your business, because traditionally people will have to make a phone call, go on your website, make an inquiry, email back and forth, a phone call. Then eventually you'd go out and do a quote and they'd get to see you. And a lot of the business is done on when they look at you and go, do I trust this person? Can I do business with you? Video brings that face-to-face meeting back to the start of the conversation, and it shortens sales cycles. Look, there is so much you could be doing in the video right now.
Julian, I'm watching you speak, and for those listening to this, we do record the videos. We don't yet have a YouTube channel, but after listening to Julian's figures, I'm thinking we should probably pull our fingers out. But Julian is literally trying to climb down the webcam at me and almost shake me by the shoulders, I feel, because it's like it is something that those of us who have even just dabbled with video as part of a sales process or, I guess a marketing medium have seen how powerful it can be. And with so many of these things, listeners, it's about taking that first step and getting over that first hurdle. And as Nick said with her live TV experience, it was terrifying. But after 5 minutes, you get into the flow of it. And I feel like there's this critical mass point, Julian, with how many times I do something to when I start to feel like, okay, I got this. Do you see that happen with small business owners, especially tradies, of course, given our listeners? But is there like not a magic number, pardon the pun, but is there like a critical mass point where once I've done 5 or 20 or I've been doing it for 3 months, it starts to become a little more natural?
Yep, definitely is. So and it surprises most people. It's 10. So when I say 10, I mean it's not 1. Like most people, you got to do a couple of videos and you'll stumble through it and feel really awkward. But neither is it 100. It's not like you just have to be doing this for years to get good at it. All you need to do is get out there and make 10 videos. Now, when I say around that figure is make them consistently. And so maybe go online and do, even just do Facebook Lives, on your just your personal Facebook group. When you're working, just go out and tell them about, so this amazing house we've been working on, look at this. And when you get on there and you find that people don't criticize you, this is the thing. We all have this fear that everyone's going to laugh at us, point the finger, give us dislikes and stuff. It's actually the opposite. Actually getting anybody to interact with you at all these days is the harder bit. The criticism doesn't come. And if it does come, it comes in very small measure. And think about this. Let's just say it came at 5%. And I use 5% because when I had that YouTube channel, I consistently had 5% of haters, people who could not stand the sound or the look of me. And as soon as I post a video, those 5% came within about the first couple of hours. Like they're waiting for me to post something. But here's the thing, and it used to really affect me. I used to hate it. I used to like go to bed worrying and lose sleep over, oh, people don't like me. If that 5%, if you walked into a party and there were 20 people there and 19 of those people thought you were okay and one, just didn't like the cut of your jib, you go, oh, it's not bad. That's not bad odds. That's exactly what we're talking about here. Yet we build it up to be this huge thing, like, I'm not going to do it. It does hurt. I mean, it does hurt. But here's the thing. I've been doing this now on this whole online thing for about 10 years now. I have not, I've never bled, never lost blood, never done anything.
Until you came on our podcast.
yeah. The story in my head is the one, that was holding me back. There were a couple of points earlier I wanted to cue back. I've forgotten what they are now.
But
okay. Nick said,
again, I promise. Maybe I have the opportunity there to jump in and say, you've mentioned Facebook Lives, you've mentioned YouTube, you've mentioned videos on your website. Is there a particular kind of video that you find is actually most relatable, more comfortable to start with, or maybe even the easiest to use as a starting point?
Yeah. So treat it as live. One of the things. So just to give you, there's a thing called called legacy filmmaking. So how we all know a TV program or a movie to be made, you shoot in certain scenes, and then you go into the editing room and cut all those together in a certain way. We're all going that if you know the basics of that, that empowers you. That's great. But now in the last couple of years, and this has been highlighted by COVID, is live streaming technology. So think of it back like watching a live football broadcast. We're going to cut to camera one, and now we go, down to Jono on the sideline, and we go to the wide shot, and it's all done live, and you're literally someone there pushing a button. That technology is now available for your phone, for your home computer. It's cheap, it's easy, and it is now how I make 95% of my videos for my business. Because essentially what it means, with a little bit of preparation, a little bit of thinking about what I'm going to say, maybe find a video, maybe make up a couple of graphics for it or something very simple. If I'm making a 2-minute video, I hit start, and 2 minutes later, when I'm finished live, I hit end. The video is made for me. There's no editing. And then if you do this on your phone or on your desktop, you can actually send it like to the world live at the push of a button. So my recommendation for you is to do what I call confessional videos. Well, actually, I don't call it. They're called confessional videos, which is, people who it's like me sitting here. It's like you guys just sitting in the middle of the frame. It's just you talking to someone in an authentic way, like you're in a confessional, in a church, and just start doing them. Don't try to be tricky. Just get on there and tell your people. And you can start doing this with your friends, in your general Facebook. You just start off, hey guys. Most of you know me around the barbecue, you know me from the kids at school and stuff, but you've never seen me at work. So I just wanted to spend the next couple of weeks where, doing this interesting job, just to show you around a couple of things, just for a few minutes, just so, you know what I do. There you go. And start off in a video like that. Make half a dozen of those, and by the 6th one, you go, oh yeah, I'm sort of getting a rhythm now. And then you're into it. So that is the best way to start. If you go back and go, oh, I'm going to try to make some good videos. And that's the thing. We go online and we see all, because what it's like on YouTube. There's amazing looking videos on there. But your customers don't want you for that. They don't want you to try to be clever and entertain them. They want you to solve their problems. That's all they want. So, just get on there, be authentic, and be honest, and be vulnerable. One thing that works really well, so well on video, is to be vulnerable and to go on. And you know what being vulnerable means? I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. And if you can say those words, and it's so hard for us not to say those words, Why? Because we all came out of the same education system, this binary education system. For 12 years, we were told there's a right answer and a wrong answer. And if you get the wrong answer, we're going to reprocess you through the system until you get the right answer. And we're all so scared of saying the wrong thing. And that's what you were saying before, Nick. That's what I want to cue back in, is that there is no right or wrong answer. You know your customers, just get in there and start helping them.
It is such a sticking point for our clients and our community. And I know it's not just our tradies and it's not just you listeners. This is a universal sticking point, I guess, for anybody really, apart from a few narcissists out there. And yet it's such a fragile myth, like it is built on so much hot air, this idea that there's a right way to do videos for business. And I think sometimes that's perpetuated by businesses and so-called experts who say you have to do it this way and here's the magic formula to doing it. And yet, as you put quite well, Julian, it's just about being authentic and being vulnerable. And it's something that, for us here at Tradies in Business doing the podcast, it's more than 7 years now, over 500 episodes. And I think maybe 2 of the 500, the first 2 that I ever did, which were awful, had a script. And so ditched that idea because they sounded like crap. and it's actually now a part of it's one of our values here at the podcast. We have people want us to follow a script and we actually go back to them and say, we don't do scripts, we don't do questions in advance. There's no preparing. We just like to have an authentic chat to our guests and share what comes up. And I consistently read the feedback we get from people that makes it listenable. Long-winded way of asking, is that the same for video? Is authentic video nowadays more watched than the cool stuff? Or does the cool stuff still have a place in particularly small business?
Oh, definitely. So the cool stuff. I mean, let's say Red Bull. All right, let's say Red Bull. They are the Red Bull drink and all their action videos. They've now, rather than just becoming like an energy drink company, they are now a media production company for big companies like Nike. They did their videos so well. But we watch those videos when we don't want to think about something else, when we want to zone out. You can't compete with that. You cannot compete with Red Bull, right? You can have a bit of fun, muck around, but that's not what it's about. But when I'm awake at 2 a.m. in the morning with worrying about my concreting, worrying about my electricity, worrying about that, that's when you are going to win. And that you got to think you're making a video for a particular purpose, for a particular person at a particular time. And so I just want to cue this. This is stuck in the back of my head here. I want to get it out. It's something Nick said before. It ties in with this. You might be listening to me now, and what you were saying, Wok, I'm here, and I'm like, I must have Italian in my blood. I talk with my hands. I'm all over the place. You might be going, oh yeah, well he sounds all right, but I'm not like him. You don't have to be like me. We all like different flavours of ice cream. That's why you go down and they've got 52 different flavours down there, because we all don't like the same thing. There are people who can't stand me. They cannot stand me. It's okay. I resonate with the people who resonate with me. You, in whatever way that you talk, you deliver, you might stand there with your arms crossed and shuffle your feet. Great. I know plenty of people like that, and I love them. I think they're fantastic. So don't get hung up by this. Just go out and be who you are. Always improving a little bit along the way. So if you start getting on video, look around and go, don't compare yourself, but just learn from other people and go, what do they do? All right, well, how can I do that? They're keeping their eye contact with the lens the whole time. Oh, maybe I could do that. Oh, their camera seems to be at their eye level. Maybe I could do that. Oh, they've got their camera, it looks like on a tripod or resting against a wall. They're not hand holding it and it's bouncing around. Maybe I could do that. So we just incrementally improve. But it's about getting on there.
Julian, you've led me to another point I wanted to make. I wanted to talk about perfection. And whilst I was thinking and you were talking, I was thinking about perfection in video. I think in movies, we've been trained to understand that there is an element of perfection right up until the Blair Witch Project came out. And it was all done on a camcorder. And for those listeners that are far too young to know what it is, please go and search it out. It was brilliant. It was a huge change to the industry and the way things are shot. And since then, we've seen, well, certainly from my point of view, we've seen a big change in the way video is used within film. And I guess that leads into the same sort of thing within what our tradies are doing. For me, perfection doesn't play a part in the conversation that we're having today because it leads to a distrust of a trade business, particularly in trades. What people want to see is exactly who you are authentically, and that means that the camera will bounce around. You won't always be making the eye contact that you were talking about a moment ago. Sometimes your audio will be great, other times it won't be. Sometimes you'll be talking about your sandwich that you had for lunch, or the crap that you've got on your hands and you really do want to eat lunch, or the fork that you've made out of a piece of tin because you didn't bring one to work for the day. They're small things, but it actually creates some of that trust that perfection could take away. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, so let's talk about trust. It is the number one issue that you need to be thinking about if you're going on video for your business. So it's not who you say you are anymore, it's who Google says you are. So if you put things online that work against people trusting you, that is the worst thing you can do, because that is on the record now. So number one, if you're going to make videos, if you're out there sort of goofing around on videos, and that's okay, but you want to start thinking about what you're saying and what you're doing, because that's on the record. The second thing about trust is we are living in a time where we trust people more than big brands. So we're living in a time when governments have let us down, corporations have let us down, big business has let us down, churches have let us down. We don't trust big institutions like we used to. And the videos and the media that typically came out of them, so that, let's say glossy video, it doesn't work like it used to, where we trust each other now. So, when we want to get a recommendation for something, you ask your mate about the lawnmower and he go, oh yeah, mate, go down and buy this one. Yeah, I've done all the shopping. Oh, that's what we want. Oh, thank you. You saved me time. It's like going to a restaurant. We trust each other more than we trust brands now. So if you go and think that making a video that looks all, glossy and nice, and you're sort of standing off to the side, I'm Dave, Brisbane's best chippy or whatever, people are going, really? Don't think so, mate. It just doesn't work like it used to work. We're in a different time. But this is, and the blessing for all you out there is it's the easiest time ever now to start using video, because you have a smartphone in your hand. How do I know that? Because I've seen you. I pay for tradies. You guys have always got that thing stuck to you. And it is an anti-invisibility device for your business. It's the Swiss Army knife of business tools. It's a pocket-sized TV station. And you're just carrying it around and making, doing quotes on it. You can be doing so much more. So you've got that. Start using that and start to think those 5-7 questions that people ask you. Just start to think, oh, how can I make some videos about showing them? So, one thing, here's this just popped into my mind. What I would love to have seen from some work we had done at the back of the house was we had trouble getting the little digger up there. So if you own a little piece of machinery, go and get the machinery down the side of the house with a tape measure and talk. So this is the machine, right? It's got to get down there. Let's run the tape measure out. There, look, it says 2.225 metres. So can you get your tape measure? Run out. 2.25. If you've got more than that, we can do it. Bingo. That is just so powerful, rather than umming and erring on the phone and trying to explain it. People can see it. Another big rule with video these days is show, don't tell. So whenever you can show somebody what's happening, right, that's the power of video. Don't tell them, show them in pictures. Doesn't have to be Steven Spielberg, just show them clearly.
It's something that I've said to probably too many clients. Sorry to cut you off, Nick. Exercising my supreme talent there at talking over the top of my co-host. Is I'm sometimes a bit jealous of tradies and trade business owners, because they have such a visual job, such a visual product and even service, compared to people like us who all we've really got is talk. And, we use video with client testimonials and those sorts of things because obviously that gives people thinking about working with us an opportunity to watch somebody else talking about their results, but it's still talk. They can't show you their profit improvement or the extra time they're getting back. Yes, we can do that with, pictures of them on holiday, and we maliciously get photos and videos from our clients taking their holiday so we can share that. But I find it's just so easy as a trade business, and all they have to do is, as you say, pull out that television camera. You were probably from, the old days where TV cameras were as big as a small car and took a team of people to drag them around, and the battery lasted for 3 minutes. And nowadays we can shoot better quality video on this thing in our pocket that barely costs us $20. So
let me just jump in on that. You're looking at me now on an iPhone 7. So I only exclusively use smartphones. So I've used all the best cameras in the world, all the best lenses, and the only cameras I own now are smartphones. I just happen to use iPhones, but I don't use the latest iPhone 13. This you're looking at is an iPhone 7. So it's like 6 years out of date. They are over-spec'd. They are. I am just so in love with what these tools can do. I get so excited about it.
Julian, I reckon I've got a bit of a curly one you can help our clients solve. And Warwick referenced it earlier. The power of video testimonial is incredible. And yet clients don't ever want to appear on video, much for all the same reasons that we've spoken about. However, they don't have an incentive to do so. So I wondered if you had some tips for our business owners to assist their clients get over that invisible wall that feels like the Great Wall of China they have to climb over to leave a video testimonial.
Yes, this is so easy. Right, so number one, I'm going to start from a client. I'm going to, as a customer, all right. Communicate with me. Will you stop making me chase you? Follow me up and make me feel like I'm important here. You do that, I will get on video. And I do this. There's all these tradies with videos of me on their website because I go, listen, the work's good. The work speaks for itself. But these guys are great to work with, and that's why I recommend them. So number one, work on your communication, and you'll get people just wanting to make these videos for you. Right, so let's just say you wanted to go and do a testimonial video tomorrow. So the first thing you don't want to do is make your customer feel like a deer in the headlights. So that's, you're having a conversation, you're going over the bill, whatever you're doing, and then you go, oh, would you make a video testimonial for me now? And they go, because they feel all those things that you feel when you get in front of the camera. They don't want to do it, and you'll drag them in. And if you make them do it, it'll be awful. And you look at it and you go, I don't even want to use that. It just looks terrible. So number one, let them know ahead of time. Say, listen, tomorrow afternoon I'm going to be there. I know you said that you were happy. Can I just come and shoot a quick video? And then you reassure them. People are worried. Make them feel safe. And all you've got to say is that, listen, it's really easy. I've done plenty of these. Even if you haven't, lie. Just say, I've done plenty of these. It takes about a minute and I guide you through. It's really easy. So then, and they go, oh, right, okay. And I still don't want to do it. Right. Okay. So then what you do is that you get them there, and then easiest thing is for you to, I was saying don't handhold before. This is actually one of the times you do want to handhold, because you don't want to make them feel like they have to, stand in the right place and do the right thing. So just whip it out, go into selfie mode, go into horizontal, wide, landscape format, put the two of you there and just talk to the person. But what you want out of them is you want to ask them, what was the problem you had, and why was it worrying you? What did I do that you didn't expect? And now, how is life for you now that I've done this? How do you feel now? So that's all people want to know. They want to know if they've got the same problem, are you a safe bet? And am I going to feel like those people feel? Right? So they want the problem fixed, but they want to feel good. That's what we all want if we want to spend money. So you do that. And if that doesn't work, if the people just, and they, so sometimes they just don't work. In fact, I'd say 9 out of 10 times they just don't work. Then do this strategy. Say I'm going to start collecting videos, testimonials for the next year. And every job you go to, ask the people, do the same thing, set up side by side, or just, point, get them on the camera and ask them, what are 3 words now that you would say describe my job? Just 3 words. 1 word, doesn't matter. And just get them to say brilliant, clean, professional, whatever. And so collect these as you go. And if you end up with 20 or so of these, then all you do is you go, this is what people say about my work. And you just bring them up going, professional, clean, great, on time. These people just saying 1 word each, and that is way more powerful and keeps people's attention so much better than somebody going, well, yes, I looked in the yellow pages and, waffling on.
I love it. That's a great tip. Even just the 1 word strategy is a great place to start, because it's easy to edit that together now. That's something even a techno-tard like me could actually do. Okay,
so now we've just got on to the tech. Let me jump in. If the one app I recommend for editing on Android and iOS is CapCut, CapCut. It's made by the people, ByteDance, who own TikTok, and it's free. And I am astounded at the feature set on it. It costs you nothing. Its ease of use is brilliant, but if you want to dress things up and just have a little bit of fun, I warn you, once you go in there, you won't come out of the rabbit hole for a couple of days. It's so good. And it's on your phone, it's free. And if you wanted to cut together, those little words of a testimonial, put a little bit of music under it, maybe put, your phone number and stuff over the top, your website, bingo. You could do that while you're sitting, waiting, in the truck for someone else.
That's great.
On the loo. Instead of watching other people's TikTok on the toilet, you could edit up your own videos.
Yeah.
Look out, listeners. I'm going to be the next Tradies in Business TikTok star now that we've found the magical app.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
Okay, sorry, I'm just going to jump in there. You mentioned TikTok. So TikTok, is it short? We all think of it as Gen Zers all out there doing their dancing and stuff. It still is that. The fastest growing segment on TikTok is 35 to 55-year-old. It's maturing. So it is now going to become a business platform. And as all these Gen Zers move up, that's how they're going to want their information. They're going to become customers. So don't discount it. This is all moving very, very, very fast. So you can have a little bit of fun with it. And I do recommend that you actually just watch TikTok with a mindset of how are these people communicating? Because they can get a lot of information over in 50. You can do a 15-second video or a 60. It's really instructive to watch them and go, wow, that's what they've done. Maybe I could do something like that.
Julian, we're struggling with Reels. I've gotten really good at pointing to words that we put on the screen, but we're still struggling with Reels. But perhaps we will look into the TikTok thing. I 100% agree with you. We've got to meet the people where they are. Yeah. I think our tradies need to meet their clients where they are, and it is overwhelmingly on video sources of content. We're seeing amazing changes at the moment with Instagram. That tells you everything. It's becoming very video based. It's not a static picture anymore. So it's time to really embrace this, whether we like it or not. It's not going away.
Can I just jump in with another point there? Is that we have become a culture addicted to convenience, and we're all carrying these smart devices around. You don't need me to quote statistics. Just look around. You'll see that we're all on there. Why is video the convenient way to consume information? And it's because text on a smart device is fiddly. Yeah. And you can type with your thumbs, all right, if you're good at it, but it's just not a good way to run a business. So video is simply, by the physicality, the convenient medium to communicate on these things that we are all addicted to.
Mm-hmm. They're not going away anytime soon, are they?
No. And I was just going to jump back to that whole thing about, don't write TikTok off, because even though that started out as sort of a Gen Z platform, it does move with them, and that's their platform of choice in time. And I recall similar conversations being had about Facebook when it first started. It was, it was for young people and uni students and that sort of stuff, because that's where it was born. And yet we saw rapidly over just 5 to 10 years that Facebook became the middle-aged, middle-class platform where you could reach your customers because they grew up with Facebook. And so now Facebook is probably more of an old person's platform, to be honest, like me. And some of these new platforms coming out, it's easy to shun them or say that they're too hard. But look, even I've done a reel that got 5,000 views just because I picked a cool song. The content was crap.
It was terrible.
But the singing was out of sync. The content nobody was interested in, but I got a whole swag of views. And I beat Coxie in our Reels challenge.
He really did. He owned me. He did. I can't disagree with that.
A singing confessional.
We had a lot of fun. And I think that's the point here. I think once you push past that fear and you get out of your own way and you give this a crack, it's actually a lot of fun. Video is not as complicated and challenging as you think it's going to be. It actually becomes fun.
It actually becomes faster. Once you start realizing that, like I was saying before, where you press the start button and you do it in a sense live and press the stop button, it's actually faster than writing an email.
Yeah.
And there's so many the new technologies that are coming out where you can be on your desktop and you can do a screen recording with you of what's on your desktop. Maybe you're working through plans on something. Now, rather than ringing someone and trying to explain to them, you can just use one of these apps. They cost you $10 a month, or you can get a free one, and do a screen recording and talk people through what you're doing. Remember, show, don't tell. And you can do this faster than you're going, and like quoting. Maybe you can just put your quote up there on the screen and do a little video with you on there on the side and talk through the quote for the person. So rather than just sending it and, customer looks at the quote and goes, I didn't think it was going to be that much. You can talk through and just explain through the quote for them. It is an essential business tool. And if you're thinking like, nah, look, it doesn't really affect me, it does. Sorry to tell you, we're all going to be using it. You may as well be one of the first ones using it rather than being one of the last ones dragged into using it.
That's right.
Aren't you lucky, listeners? You're going to see even more of Warwick.
Well, Julian, I'm sure we could spend another 2 hours talking about why all of our listeners need to get started with video, or at least go back and do it again, because a lot of people, I think, pick it up, do a few, and they don't get to the magic number of 10. We love to share resources, and you've shared, there's an app out there that can help people out. Is there some tools that people could look at? Do you have something that they should go and check out? Where do they find out more about you as well?
Yeah, so look, the simplest thing is go to www.julianmather.com, JULIANMATHER.com. It's like the one-stop shop. But when you're there, there's 2 things I want you to look at. And one is that I've got a new book called Press the Red Button. And it's press the red button like the red button on your smartphone. I took 3 years to write this book, and it's really quite thin. And that's why it took me 3 years, because... Seriously, I took my ego out of it, and all this other stuff I was going to put in, like, make me look good, make it hard for you. That is I hand on my heart believe that is the best way for someone to start using video in their business. But we also want community. So I've started the New Video Professionals Club. It's a Facebook group. You're welcome to apply. If you're a small business owner, you can get in. And it's a place for people for professionals who hate video to learn to love video. And until you just, like we were saying before, you start to really like this and realize it's not as problematic and awful as it once was, it's not going to happen. So it's giving you that community where you can come to love video like I do.
I love it.
Love it, Julian.
And look, listeners, the worst thing that could happen is you make a few dodgy videos and one person laughs at you. The best thing that could happen is you catapult your business ahead of your competitors, you attract great staff, you grow even more confident in yourself, and you absolutely crush it as a tradie in business. So I guess it's just down to picking which one is going to be the most valuable to you. So definitely go check Julian's stuff out. We expect to see lots more listeners doing lots more video. we're definitely going to be smashing our tradiepreneur clients up with this and creating another challenge or something.
Hey, can I just jump? If anyone does make a video, if this has influenced you to make a video, I would love to see it. If you could just tag me in on social or something, I'd just love to, and just say that you heard it here. And I'll comment on it because I'm seriously, I want to see you out there and make this transformation.
There you go, listeners. The challenge is set. Julian, thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And we look forward to seeing more of you on video, of course.
I appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.